Hello, it's Mr. Rio here, and we're going to do a big word review. Okay, we're going to review a bunch of skills in Microsoft Word, most of which have been covered already. There may be a couple new ones here that we're going to do. Now, unfortunately, I have to do this in the Mac version for Word, but here's the thing. I've already included a lot of videos. I'm going to put some with this here too for the Windows version of Word. Also, all the things I'm going to cover are in there somewhere. So if they're not in the most obvious places where it looks like the Mac version, you can either look at some of the little mini videos and tutorials I put below, which are for the Windows version to cover those skills, or you can just Google them. I mean, it's not that hard, or click around the menus till you find it, because all this stuff we're covering here is pretty basic stuff. But what we're going to do here is I have a document I'm sharing with you. Way back when we did our first Word packet, we did a rough typing of something called Internet History. I was going to have to dig out your version and do it, but I just shared a version with you. So everyone's going to have that to begin with. You can download that here. The one thing I do want you to do is find a photo of a computer. So maybe two of them. So just open up a web browser of your choosing. I'm going to open up Chrome. And you can just do a search for computer. I put computer photo or just computers and just click on images. Now this is just to review a little bit how to get images. I find the easiest way is just go to Google. There are other options out there. And then find what looks like might be a nice computer picture. I'm going to click on this one right here. Then I get this over here. You want to go to the bigger one that opens. Now, not every image you try to download is going to work, but most will. Do a right click. Go to Save Image As. Now, some of you may have other methods you use, and if they work, so be it. But you have to have an image that you're going to be able to insert into a Word document and move it around. So we're going to click Save Image As, and it's already named Laptop Computer. Perfect name. It's a JPEG file. I'm going to save it to my desktop. If you're on the school Windows computers, your desktop, your OneDrive, wherever it is that works for you is fine. And then go ahead and hit Save. And now we have at least one image of a computer. If we need another one, we can always come and get another one later. So now I'm going to quit that. Now, here's the image I got, and here is the file that I'm sharing with you guys. Now, this is a Word docx. You see the little docx on here? You probably can't see it too good in here. Now, I don't have to have it typed on here, but sometimes that's not a bad idea. Now, don't put .docx unless you know for sure it's a .docx file, because it's not magically going to turn a non-Word file into a real .docx. But I do that out of habit. I grew up in an era where if you didn't do that, Windows computers often didn't know what it was. So I think now it's probably not an issue so much. Okay, so I'm going to, this here you downloaded, so you just double click it and it should open up Word. Or you can open up Word first and then go to the File menu and do an Open and go dig around wherever you have it stored and open it up. But this is called Internet History Rough, and it's called rough because it's a very rough typing. All we did is hit return at the end of each paragraph. I put these in here. I'm going to delete them. They're kind of left over here from when I originally shared this, but you can delete them too. I'll leave them in there for a little bit of editing. And there's typos in here on purpose we'll come back to, but this will save you a whole bunch of typing. Now, I'm going to review a bunch of things. Like I said, it may not all look exactly the same as here, but you got to know these skills one way or the other. And that's how software is. That's going to happen your whole life. Even if we're going over the same piece of software right now, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, a new version comes out, or you use a different, word processor from another company, and you're going to have to figure these things out. It's like, where are the margins? Where are the fonts? Where are the paragraph formatting? Where's the line spacing? Where's bullets? Where's numbering? Where's highlighting? Where's, so many things. How do I insert a picture? All these skills you're going to have to learn in other updates and software. So it's not so much about your version got to be 100% identical to mine. It's like, okay, I need to do this. How do I do it? And if you don't already know, you can start clicking around and try to figure it out. Just a quick review, and again, I know I'm in the Mac version, but there should be menus up here. I went in Mr. Knickerbocker's room and I said, do they have menus up here? And he said yes, but a lot of students click their software so it fills up the entire screen, and then they often don't see these menus up here. Now, I'm not saying everything's going to be the same as the Mac. It probably isn't, but there should be menus that you can access up here. And then down here we got our main toolbars. These are basically toolbars. Okay, now I have the ruler out. If you don't have the ruler out, it may be on the view menu, that's where mine is, and you select ruler, and we're in the print layout mode. Now they do got other layout modes I'm not going to go into in this class, but the main thing on the view menu to know right now is should be in the print layout mode, and you should have the ruler out. Okay, and then it's usually near the bottom, and I think this is the same on the Windows version. You can adjust the view here as far as the size. This does not change the size of your fonts or your document. It's just a preference to how big you want it. I usually do it somewhere between 125 and 150. If you've got a big monitor, you can even go probably a little bigger. But that's a preference. So you can adjust that. It's down near the bottom slider. And like I said, if a different software looks a little different, then you just got to look around where are these features, because they essentially have about the same features. Now again, you got to be in the real version of Word. That'd be the one that's on your application menu on a Windows computer, or you can search for it on there, not the web version. Okay, make sure if you're working in a web browser like Chrome and you got the web Word open, you're not going to be able to do most of what we're going to be covering here. Now all we're doing this week, other than an Apple assignment, is this assignment here. So if you're in class on either Tuesday for the H group or Thursday for the C group, you don't have to do this right now from the tutorial unless you want to, because I'm going to be doing this in class with you on those days. This is preparing for the Word test. Now the Word test is going to have all these skills in it, give or take. And so you're going to be making a document or a number of things on a document showing that you know how to do these skills. So if I'm covering it, you should be knowing it. Now in some cases I may just be talking about it. Like, which view are we usually working? We work in print layout. Okay, so things like that you should be familiar with. Okay, now back to Word here. When it's on home, and again, like I said, the Windows version might look a little different. A couple of things can affect the look on here. First of all, how wide this is. If I drag it in closer, it's going to start combining things and hiding things and making menus appear to hide stuff that it doesn't have room to display. So that's important right there, because you may see more stuff the wider and bigger the monitor is that you have. Somewhere in there, most of you have found, your fonts. You have all kind of fonts you can use, and a lot of fonts have not just the font, but they got a bunch of options for the font. They got italic or a bold or a regular or bold and italic. Okay, so you got all kind of options there for your fonts. And again, some of you, because your computers might have a little different default font or something, occasionally we type things and it looks a little bit different on a different computer. We have, this paintbrush we've already used. I'll be coming back to that, but that's for format painting. You can literally copy the format from one paragraph to another, or one sentence to another, or whatever it is you want to copy format on. I think everyone's pretty familiar with bold, italic, underline. And if you go around here and say, what do these other things do? They got strike through. They have a subscript if you're doing like, chemistry equations and things like that. They have a superscript. They got text effects. You can do all kinds of stuff in text. We'll come back to that later. They got some buttons here to make your fonts bigger or smaller just by clicking the buttons or the size over here. Let's see here. We got a highlighter, like using a highlighter to highlight something. Font color. We got left, center, right, and justify alignments. We have line spacing. Again, on the Windows computer, it might be slightly different, but you can look around. Look around your computer. Don't be shy. Click around, pull down menus, try things. That's how you learn. And students are usually pretty good about that. A lot of times when you see something you think is double spaced, in reality it might be 1.5. Sometimes that looks better than full double, which can be kind of big. Sometimes they got single space or slightly above single space. Usually you got 1.5, 1.5, occasionally 2. We got some built-in bullets and numbering up here that we can use for quick. We have indentation if you're going to need to indent or decrease indent. I already showed you guys the show hide. You click on it, little symbols appear. They're invisible symbols to show you things like tabs or returns and so forth. Styles I'm not going to really go much into. These are pre-made styles. We don't really have time to go into that in this class. They do got dictation built in, so you can talk. I haven't really tried it, to be honest with you, but at some point I probably should. Let's see. The insert menu is everything you can insert. You can insert a page. You can insert a page break. A page break is where you can put a line in halfway through your page, so when it gets to that point of the page, it automatically jumps to a new page. If perhaps you don't want, for some reason you get to the end of something, you want the next line to be on a different page. Tables we'll be covering in this lesson. We haven't done yet, so we'll be doing a little bit with tables. Inserting pictures, inserting shapes. I'm not going to go into all the options that are in here. There's a lot of them. You can do header and footer here, including this is in addition to where I've showed you before on the view menu. Page numbering we haven't really talked about. We'll look at briefly today. Text boxes. So we're going to do some more text boxes, word arts. And again, the Windows version may have some of this stuff a little different, so you have to look around. Or if worse comes to worse, Google it. It's anytime I have trouble finding something like that, I Google it in a couple seconds. I have directions. Go to here, go to there, and so on. Or a 1 minute or 2 minute tutorial on how to do it. I know the Windows version doesn't have the draw menu. There's not much on here anyway, just some pens and pencils and stuff. Design, it could be a little different there, but wherever it is, the main things we're going to find, and it might be different in the Windows version, is watermark. That's where you can put a real light text across the document. People do that sometimes, so it can't be copied easily or stolen, or to say who owns it, or just do it for layout effect or artistic effect. Page color, you can change the background color of the page, and a page border. Okay, now that could also come up in something called borders and shading. Most of the other menus here we're not going to do. Just a quick look at the view menu. The view menu, we've got print layout that we normally use. You can zoom in and stuff. We got another place where you can select the ruler. And again, it might look a little different on the Windows computer. A lot of this here we're not going to look at. Let's see here. If you click on, I don't know if it's Windows has this here, review. They got spelling and grammar. And word count is here. Now you can also find it in tools up here if the Windows version has tools. See how many words are in your document like that. Pretty easy. You can also do a quick, back to tools. You can also do spelling and grammar. And already I'm finding where, this looks wrong. So what am I going to do? I'm going to click on it and it automatically fixes it. Now here's universities. I got a couple options here what I want to do. Spread to universities. I'm going to pick the middle one. And again, it might look a little different on a Windows computer. I'm going to close this right now, but that's one way you can go through and fix. And there are typos in here we need to fix. Okay. I'm going to go back to the home here, and without further ado, we're going to take a look at what's going on here. One way or the other, you want to make sure your margins are okay, whether you find them on one of the toolbars, or in the case here, we have them on the format menu called document, and just double check our margins. Now this one here is at 1.25 inch. We want to make that 1 inch all the way around. Okay, and we've done this before. And again, the margins might be a little different in the Word for Windows, but One way or the other, you want to find where the margins are. The gutter we leave 0, just 1 inch all the way around, top, bottom, left, and right. Gutter 0. And you can get to page setup here, or you can get to it from the file menu. But whichever way you get to it, that's where you can change the orientation. So if you're making a document you want it to be longer sideways than tall, you do that in page setup. Okay? And then I'm just going to hit OK here. So I just made sure our margins are there. Now with a little bit smaller on the sides, it means there's more room here. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to format all of our paragraphs. Okay, how do you do that? Really easy. You can go to the Edit menu and do a Select All. That selects your entire document. Okay, or you can drag across if you want, but we want to select everything. We're going to format our paragraphs first. Now, on the Windows, if I remember, the paragraph formatting is somewhere right around here. There's a little, it says paragraphs, it's got a little arrow near the bottom, and you click, and it will bring out what we have up here in the Format menu on the Mac, the paragraph dialog box. Now, there's a tutorial I'll put with this assignment also, but you've already covered that in the paragraphs assignment, so once you open that up, you can use that to format paragraphs. So now that I got this open, I can do all these paragraphs at once. So I got to make a few decisions here. The alignment, you got left, that puts everything on the left. Centered, centers it, that would look pretty bad. Right, no point in doing that for this type of document. So it pretty much is between left and justified. The only difference is left lines everything up on the left, which means all of our lines, I'll just do it real quick here. Okay, it lines everything up there, and then it isn't lined up here. Now I'm going to take this back out again, and I'm going to go ahead and make it justified. And that lines it up perfectly even on the left and the right. How it does that, it makes more space between the words. Now you're going to go under here under indentation. Now if we're doing say we did one paragraph, we want to make it indent compared to the other ones, we would do that here. But right now all we're going to do is go to Special, and we're going to do a first line indent. Now there's also a hanging indent on here that does the opposite. First line indent indents the first line, nothing else. Hanging indent does the opposite. If you set it for 0.3 of an inch like we're going to do for the first line, it would lead the first line all the way to the left and indent the rest of the paragraph. Kind of a strange look, but some people use it sometime. So we're going to do first line, make it 0.3. You can see down here what's going on. Line spacing, we're going to do 1.5. So we did justified, first line 0.3, 1.5 here for line spacing, and we're going to hit OK. And look at that. We did all of our paragraphs at once. Was that easy or what? Now I have an extra space right here I can take out. I'm just going to click here and put a cursor, hit delete till it takes that space out. Any of these misspelled words, I can just do a right click on it and go around here. Now this does not replace good proofreading because there could be misspelled words that the spell check does not pick up. Okay, but this helps with some of the most obvious type of ones. And then, of course, if this was a serious paper you're doing for a class or something, you'd want to go through this and carefully edit it. Okay, so I'm not saying this is perfect. Right now we're focusing on layout. So I did want you to fix those and practice with that like I just went through and did, but you saw how quick and easy that was. Okay, now if we want to put a title up here, one way we can do it is put it in a text box. And also we can put a header up here also. We can have a header and a title that are two separate things. The title can be in a text box. The header can be just, well actually we'll put a footer on this one so we won't have a header up here. We'll put a footer. But before we go any further, let's make a text box. So on here I can go to Insert, and there's a text box over here. Might be somewhere different on the word for Windows. Or I can go under Insert up here and go down and look for text box. And it's actually right here. Then I can draw a box. Now before I type once I do that, it brings up all different options here. So this is going to be Internet History. So you're going to type Internet History, and you're going to highlight it. And you're going to, let's see, they got all these options here. They got fills, they can change the color of it, but we don't really want any of these. So I'm going to go back to home, and we're just simply going to make it bigger. Let's see, I'll try 24. Okay, I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to center it. Now if I deselect, the only thing I don't like, there's a line around the text box. Okay, so how do I get rid of that line? Okay, I'm going to go up here on the border of the text box and double click. Now that's going to bring me back to this here. Now over here they got shape fills, and next to that they got shape outline. Okay, now like I said, the Windows version might look a little different, but one way or another you have to be able to find where the fills and lines are. They're usually next to each other. Fills usually look like a paint bucket, and pull down the one for the line and put no outline. Now you'll see a really light gray line because they have to show you where the text box is, but other than that it won't show. Now this handle, I see there's extra space than I need. I'm going to pull this up a little bit. I usually resize the text box just to be a little bit bigger than what I actually need. Now you can click here and move this text box wherever you like. Okay, so we're going to put that, and we're going to deselect, and yeah, now you don't see it, until you click on it. So that's what we want for that. Now the first paragraph here, we're going to put a drop cap. We're going to click just before in, and we're going to press delete to take out the first line indent. Okay. Now your cursor doesn't have to be at the beginning at this point. It can be anywhere in this paragraph. Okay. And we're going to do a drop cap. Now I believe drop cap is probably on the insert menu somewhere here. If I look around, there it is over there. It's also on the insert up here. So if I go to insert up here, I can look around for drop cap, and probably right in front of me here. Excuse me, it's on format menu up here, or I can do it over here, wherever you can find drop cap. Now when you do find drop cap, what options do you have? By default it's going to say none because you don't have a drop cap on there right now. We're going to do the second one, probably the second option that just shows dropped. By default it does it 3 lines, which is just fine. We're not going to do any custom editing or anything like that. It takes the first letter of the first word, makes it really big. You see this in the magazine articles and first opening chapters of books and things like that, and puts it in its own box. Just deselect. That's all we want. Okay, does that look good? Now we're going to bring our picture into here. Remember, we have a picture. But before we do that, well, let's see. I was going to show you columns. I'm not going to require you make columns, but you could put this in columns. I'll just demonstrate here real quick. We don't really have time with our current class to do all the things we might do if we were meeting every day in person. But if I did go to Format and went to Columns, and I say I picked on 2, I could hit OK, and it put out my document in 2 columns. So if you did want to do that, and those are all editable, you could do that with the columns. Now if I change my mind and say, no, I don't really want columns here, okay, I can just simply go to Edit, undo my columns, and we'll go back. So I'm not going to require the columns. If you want to try them out, go for it. But I do want you to know you can put your documents in the columns. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to bring a photo in here. We're going to go to Insert, and we're going to insert our photo, which you can do it here on the Insert menu if you have one on the Windows version. I believe you do. And then you want to look for Pictures. I got probably right here in front of me. Got text. Oh, right at the top, yeah. Okay, and picture from file, stock images, online pictures, photo. I'm just going to do from file because I have my picture on the desktop. I downloaded it already, and you should have too. Now I'm going to find my laptop picture, and I'm going to hit Insert. Now here's what's weird. Wherever your cursor was, it's going to come in there and be like part of that sentence. Mine happened to be, must have been after the word in the first sentence. So it looks really weird. It's like, oh, what's the deal, Mr. Rio? This is terrible. Okay, we're going to learn about text wrap and what it's for. Now, I already talked about text wrap as a way to make your picture so you can move them wherever you want. If I resize this picture, it's going to make it smaller. I'm just dragging the handle in. But it's still, I can't move it. It's not very good. It's kind of a mess. What can I do? Okay, so now if I do a right click, I do got wrap text right here. And the one I usually use is called tight. So that's normally what I would do. I just do a right click on the image and go to wrap text and tight. Now, wrap text should also be on one of the, probably on the design menu or the insert menu. Okay, I don't usually do it that way, but looking around here for wrap text, I saw it not too long ago. This is a good sample of how you can look around for stuff. Go back to home. I don't see it here. Go to layout. Probably, maybe it's, there it is right there. Okay, it's on the layout menu on the Mac version. Like I said, a right click may bring up a menu that has it also. But whichever method you do, and it also may be up here on the insert menu. Wrap text. Okay. It's around a few different places. But the most common that I do is just do a right click. And on the Mac version, there it is right there. Is that easy or what? And then I go to one called tight. But up here, I'm going to go to this one here. And I'm going to go to one called tight. Same thing. Now, here's a couple of things. First of all, I can now click and move this wherever I want. See how that words wrap around it? Okay. And then what it's doing is it's wrapping in tight around that text box. Or I say text box. It's a box around our image. It's an image box. But you can resize your image. You can move it around. Now, what I want you to do is make it look good. Like, look how the words wrap around it. If it looks good, great, just leave it. If it doesn't, then try something different. Move it a little bit. Resize it. Try to get it to look good. Okay, and then we're going to deselect right there. Okay, that's not too hard, is it? Now, there are ways you can put captions in here and stuff like that. You can also put a text box wrapped around, too, with text in it. But in the interest of time, we're not going to do that right now. Now, what we are going to do is go down to the second page of our document, and we're going to do a little bit of, we're going to pretend that we're doing a little bit of research. We want to try out the highlighter. So we're going to click on the highlighter, and we're going to pick our standard yellow. And let's look for keywords. We got World Wide Web right there. And we got Tim Berners-Lee, the guy who developed it. We'll be talking about that in our internet unit. And they use HTML code, and it was founded in Switzerland. Okay, now if you want to try out some different colors of the highlighter, let's see, we can do CERN, we can do European, whoops, I want to make sure I don't do the whole paragraph. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to do one more color, do a pink. And I'll look for internet, wherever I can find internet in here. There's probably internet in a few different places. Well, there it is right there. And I just saw it here somewhere. Probably right in front of me. There it is right there. Okay. So I want you to try out the highlighter and leave those there. That's part of this assignment. Okay. Now just regular old text. Let's find a, let's do the last sentence. And we're going to click on the text effects. Oh, actually, we'll come back to that. We'll do something a little bit different with it. We'll just do text color. So let's highlight the last sentence. But we don't want to do it with our highlighter. So go to no color for the highlighter, or else you'll have color on there forever. Go to, we'll select the last sentence here. And we'll do two things with our last sentence. We will make it, whoop, I keep trying to select it and keep losing it. Don't know why. It's on something else, so I'm going to have to deselect. Probably because it's on this. Okay. Now I should be able to select. Yep, that's better. Okay, so when in doubt, try something out. Okay, I'm going to change just the color of this here. Now you can pick a color, whatever you want. Okay, I'm going to do a green. And I'm going to click on bold, make it a little stick out a little bit, and deselect. So you can do that just to see how that works. Now, we just happen to use this here just to do a little bit of formatting. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go underneath here. Now, what we're about to do doesn't really have anything to do with what's above. We're just going to make some miscellaneous things. So we'll put down here, first thing we're going to do is date and time. Okay, so I want you to type date and time, and then I want you to insert 4 different ones. So if you go to the insert menu and find date and time, which is way down here, we have a variety of options. So I'm going to do the first one first. I'm going to put a comma, and then I'm going to do another one here and go to insert date and time. I'm going to do that one here. Put another comma. Now you might say, Mr. Rio, what are you doing here? It's kind of crazy. We're covering a bunch of skills that you're going to have to do on the word test, which is going to be Friday. We're only doing 3 things this week. That Apple assignment, which you probably did already before this week even started. This right here, you're making this document as a review. And then the word test, you're going to be making a bunch of stuff. Okay? And it's going to be not exactly, but some similarities to what we're doing right here. You're going to be doing paragraph formatting and things with text and alignments and word art and colors and boxes. And I'm going to show you how to do tables, and we're going to do a variety of things here, some of which we've done before and some of which we have not. Okay, but I'm going to move kind of quickly now because most of the stuff is quite simple, to be honest with you. Okay, so we do some dates and times here. And let's see, I'll do one more. I'll do just your old, since you already did that one. I'll do one without the Monday. Okay, now how do you do time? We didn't really talk much about that. That one doesn't come up as often, but I'll just do one just for a sample. Okay, here's a date with a time. Okay, so there's our date and time. So hint, hint, you're going to be able to have to make things like that. Now we're going to do word art. Okay, how do you do a word art? Okay, word art is pretty simple. Actually, we can make a word art of our word art. So we're going to, well, we'll do one underneath. Think of a football team, basketball team, sports team, music group, something that you like. Okay, I'm going to do Michigan State. Okay, I was in a hurry typing, and of course I misspelled some things, trying to look at 3 different things at once. Okay, it's a little better. Okay, I'm going to highlight this here, and I'm not going to just make it bigger or a different color or that. That's not word art. Word art, I have to actually go find word art. So I don't see it anywhere right here. So I'm going to click on the Insert menu. Now again, it might be a little different on the Word for Windows, so this is an important skill to learn, to be able to look around and find things. And if you can't find them, you don't give up, you don't quit, you don't not turn it in. You either keep looking, or you Google it or look it up, or look in one of the tutorials I shared, because most of this has been covered or will be in tutorials below this assignment. But there, I found it right there. Okay, so when I click on it, it's got a bunch of pre-made ones here. Now these are all editable. So I'm going to start with this green one here. Of course it looks Michigan State, and look how nice that looks. Now I can either be done and say that's it, that's exactly what I want, and that's fine. You can stop right there if you want. Or if you want to edit it, you can highlight it. I do it. You probably know you can click once, you get your cursor. Twice, you get the word. 3 times, you get the whole sentence or paragraph, depending how big it is. Now, there's all kinds of things I can do. There's different styles, there's different layouts, there's different colors, different fills. I'm not even going to go over all the possibilities, but there's a lot of them if you click around. So that's up to you if you want to go any further than that. But I just want to make sure you can do a basic word art. Now you might have to click underneath it here to keep going. Okay, next thing that we're going to do here is make a table. What is a table? Okay. Table is where you get rows and columns. So we're going to click here. We're going to go to Insert. And they have Table right there. Now they also have it on the Insert menu here. And go down to Table. If you click here, there's a pull-down menu. And they have all these little squares. And I believe it looks the same for the Windows version. And let's say we're going to do just a simple 4 by 3 table. So we want to go 4 columns over, 3 rows down. Okay, I just did that, 4 by 3. Okay, now, you know, if you do a 4 by 4 by accident or something, not a big deal. Actually, if you want to add a row, all you do is click in the last one in the last cell, press Tab key, and it'll add another row for you. And then you notice a table comes up here. You probably get a lot of options here. Now you can do all kind of things with the table. You can put shading in there. You can make the lines thicker. You can put in text. You can put in images. You can anything you can imagine that you could put into a table. But most of the time people use it for fairly simple things. Like we'll put in the first column, we'll put first block, and we'll highlight that. And I'm actually not going to use any of these here. I'm going to go back to Home, and I'm going to center it. Now here's a little shortcut. You notice I have that selected. I'm going to go to Copy. You can do a Command C or Control C on a Windows, Command C on a Mac. I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to paste that in. And I'm going to paste one there and paste one there. Now once I do that, I'm going to center them all. Actually, I could just drag across all of them and center all of them. I'm going to make them all bold. I'm going to make them all blue. Now, of course, we don't want everything to be first block, so I'm going to edit first and do second. And then I'm going to do the same thing here and do third. Whoops. Sometimes this gets a little tricky. I have to realign that. And then I'm going to do this one here fourth. So yeah, if you can figure out little shortcuts here and there to save you some time, that's always a good thing there. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see it better. Okay, now I don't know why these lines are here. So that should not be there, but hopefully it wouldn't show if I printed it. I'm not sure why that's there. I didn't do anything to put it there. Okay, so we got these here and here. You can type that. And then just go ahead and put in your 4 classes. Now, if some of you are online or something, you can just make classes up, put in math, chemistry, English, whatever it may be. I don't care if it's real or made up, but put in 4 classes across here. I'm going to put Complet. I'll abbreviate it. And I'll pretend I'm a student, and I put in English. Put Algebra 1. And then I'll put Biology. Now again, you can highlight all these here. You can center them. You could change the font if you like. Maybe I want a different font for these. Or whatever it is you want to do for editing. And again, you could do a lot with the tables. You can now if you wanted to get the table menu back up here, you can click on this here. You can click on that, and then you got different ways. You can click on it and format it and shade it. These are pre-made formats you could try out. So I'm not going to go through all the options here. You got borders on here. Do you want a border? Do you not want a border? You want some borders. You got borders and shading. You want to do custom borders on here. You could bring up. Okay, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that, but so that's now mine has this gray on here simply because I picked a pre-made format that does that. If I don't like that, I can go undo style, and I did several of them, so I have to undo this multiple times. You notice you can undo multiple times. I'm just going to keep going. Now I'm back to normal. Okay, so there's a table. I want everyone to make a table. It's part of this assignment here. You made a word art. You made a table. Okay, and then we're going to we're just going to take our shapes back out again just to do something real simple with it. Just a little bit of review here. So I'm going down to another page. Don't worry if you go on to another page. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, and what we're going to do is just overlap 3 shapes. Okay, so we're going to go up to the insert menu, go to shapes, go find shapes wherever they're located. Just do a basic square to start out, or rectangle, and give it a different color, whether you pick a pre-design style or custom one. Then deselect it. Then go ahead and go back to insert and shapes, or wherever you get to shapes, and do a circle or oval and overlap that a little bit and give that a different look beside the default one. I'm going to go to fill here and I'm going to make it kind of green, and then we'll do our last one here. We'll do a triangle. So go to shapes, find, now there's a couple different types of triangles. I'm not picky which one. If you want to do a heart or something a little unusual, but something a little different, I'm going to do a triangle. And I'm going to do one of these. Okay, and I'm going to move this here. And I'll give it another, I'll see what options I got. Make it red. Okay, got 3 shapes and overlap them on purpose. Now we're overlapping them for a couple of reasons. Number one, we want to see what order they're in. This one is in the back, this one's in the middle, this one's on top. I'm going to click on the one that's in the back. Now that brings up a whole nother menu for me. It might be a little different for you, but we want to do a range. Now I can find a range right there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go bring forward. And it came up 1 level. It went above the green, it stayed behind the red. Okay, now if I pull that down, well actually I'm going to go back on purpose. I'll go send backward. Now I'm back to the bottom. Now if I want to come all the way to the front, I can pull this down and go to bring to front. And however many layers there are, or how many things are overlapping, it'll bring them all up to the front. Okay, so that's what a range is. Now I can make a text box and put it on top of here, and you can do all kind of things. Okay, you can change fills, colors, you name it. Now we're going to do a group. Click on this, hold down the shift key, click on the other 2. Now with the shift key held, you can click on all of them. That's one of the ways you can select them all. And then if you look around here, now I drag my window wider because I didn't see, I'm going to click on here. I'm going to look up here, you got position. I'm looking around here, it's down here, it's up here. Group objects. You might have to look around a little bit. There it is right there. I click on that, and now this here have all been combined into one. So if I made this, maybe I made a fancy graphic or logo, I can move it around. Okay, and that's a little review of shapes. Just to show you can put a text box on top of it, because you never know when you might need to do that, hint hint. I'm going to go back to insert, and there's text box right there. I'm going to just click on draw a text box, and I'm going to draw one on top of here. I'm going to put this is a text box. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Add one on top. Now this text box can be edited. If I just deselect it, it's got a white background, got black text, and has a black line. If you want to stop there, that's okay. If you did want to edit it further, you can click in it, and when you double click on it, it'll bring up some options here. You can change the, I could add a fill to it, like a light gray. Okay, that's not that light of a gray. I'm going to go a little lighter. I can change the line around the outside of it. Maybe I want a reddish line. I can select the text in here. I could edit it. I could align it. I can give it a different color. I'm going to go back to the, well, I can go up here and do this. Okay, I can change it to, let's see, what would look good there? Maybe a maroon, and deselect. So it's all editable. Okay. Now when you start working on things, you might have different windows and things that pop up with options, so there's plenty of things you can do here. Okay, now we're going to do a bulleted list. So we got to click underneath here. It can be a little tricky sometimes. You got to double click in that to get a cursor down here. We're going to do bullets and numbering. Now I'm going to change my view a little smaller. Whoops, not that small. Okay, this will work. Now we're going to make a simple list. Okay, so for our list here, we'll just put down 5 foods that you like. I got pizza, and burgers, and tacos, and let's see, what else do we got here? Fried rice, and chicken. Okay, so put down 5 foods. You want to do the list I did, or you want to put your other own foods, put 5 foods. Now, how does it know what to bullet? Anytime you hit return, notice how we hit return after each of these? It knows to put a separate bullet based on where you hit return. So whenever you got things you're going to bullet, make sure you hit returns after each item. Then highlight all of them. So just drag across. Now the shortcut is go up here when you're in the home toolbar, and there's just a bullets button. You just click it. Voila, you got bullets. Now if you go to the one next to it, it's numbers. You just click it, and you got numbers. Now there may be pull down options there where you got some other types of options that are a little bit different. Also on the Mac under format, they got something called bullets and numbering where they have all kind of options for different looking bullets and different looking numbers. But just to keep it simple, just do a simple list. Try both out on the same list, bullets and numbers. I don't care which one you leave. You want to leave it on the numbers, leave it on the bullets. Just make sure you know how to do that, to type a little list and do bullets and numbering. I'm going to put the cursor after that, hit return. Now, first time you hit return, you notice it thinks you want to add another item to the list. It makes a bullet. You can type another item if you're still adding to your list. If you're not, you just hit return again, and it just ends your bullets right there. Okay, so that's not too bad, is it? Now, yeah, we covered quite a bit here. We're just going to, what we're going to do here, we're going to steal a paragraph. Save a little bit of typing, right? Pick one of the paragraphs here. I'm going to pick this one right here. And we're not going to cut it. We're just going to copy it. And then we're going to bring it back down here, all the way down here. Paragraph formatting. Now, paste in your paragraph underneath there. Okay. Now, I want you to type this. When I do this, this is part of your assignment. You type in the bullets and numbering. You type in paragraph formatting. Okay. We're almost done here. And what we're going to do here is just a few different edits here. Actually, what I want you to do is paste 3 of these. Okay, so we got 3 paragraphs. They're all the same paragraph. So we just pasted 3 of them in there, copied and paste. So that's pretty easy to do. Now, in the first paragraph, we're going to highlight it, or you can triple click and that will select it. And we're going to go to the, now when you're in the Word for Windows, you go back to paragraphs here and click that little arrow that takes you to the paragraph dialog box. So for our first one here, we're going to make our first line 0.5. We're going to make it left, and we're going to make it single spaced. So on the test, you might have to do this, where you paste in the paragraph multiple times, and you're told what to format. So you want left aligned, that's up here. You want first, whatever, it might be 0.5, 0.3, first line indent, and this one's going to be single spacing. So we hit OK, and it looks like that. Okay, so that's what that one is. Now this next one here, this is kind of review from what we did before. We're going to make this middle one here, and I'm kind of running out of a little space here. I'm going to try to bring this up so you can see it better. I can always make this a little smaller. Okay, just trying to bring it up so it's easier to see. This one here we're going to do like we did the middle paragraph on those paragraph ones. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this here. I'm going to go to Format, go to Paragraph. Okay, now for this one here is going to be completely different. We're going to do it justified. We're going to indent the entire paragraph 0.7 of an inch. from the left and from the right. 0.7. We don't want to go a whole inch, that's a little too much. But we're going to go 0.7 of an inch. So you can type in 0.7. You can use these little arrows like I did. We're indenting the entire paragraph. Okay, we did this on that other one. It's really, really easy to do. There's not the other one we may have had a first line indent. I can't remember, but this one we're going to say none. Okay, and then we're going to do single space. Okay, and then we're going to hit OK. And look at that. It's indent from both sides. It's justified. It lines up perfectly even on both sides. It's single space. There's no first line indent. Deselect. Was that easy or what? Now the last one here is our standard. We have the first line indent. We got the 1.5 spacing. That's pretty much what we want. We're going to leave this here. Now I'm just going to demonstrate something here. I'm going to pretend that I do want this one here. I'm going to pretend I want the top one to look the same, just like we did on that other assignment for herbal and historical. I'm going to click down here and copy this formatting. So I just put my cursor anywhere in here. It does not matter where I put it, anywhere in here. Now I'm going to click on the little paintbrush here. That copies that formatting from that paragraph. I'm going to drag this across the first paragraph, let go, and look, it copied that formatting perfectly. Unfortunately, mine's overlapping here 2 pages, but that is a shortcut. It's a really nice feature. I use it all the time. You have formatting already existing somewhere. You just click on it, click on that paintbrush, drag it across whatever it is that you want to format, and it'll be perfect. Okay? So that's going to work out quite nicely. And I think, we're going to add a footer. I know they're sitting there thinking, there's something we're going to do here. We're going to put a footer on here. So one way you can do that is go to the View menu, and go to Header and Footer. It can be found on, if you look around, I'm going to go to, we got to do a watermark too, and a page border. Let's go ahead and do that. Under Design on the Mac, it might be a little different under yours. You can do a watermark by clicking here where it says watermark. Find watermark, might be somewhere different. A watermark could be a picture or text. We're just going to do text. And we're going to edit this and put your last name or your first name or your initials. I'm going to do my last name, Rio. I'm going to just leave it real light gray. You can do a really light color on it if you like. Something really light. And hit OK. And that puts a watermark on here. Page border, there's one of the ways you can do it. You can find page border here. It opens up. You can also go to Format and Borders and Shading and click on page border. Just do a simple box, second one down. Leave it on black would be fine. Thin line would be fine. If you want to change a color or some different color, you could do that. I'll put a light red so you can see it better. I'm going to make my line a little thicker, but you don't want to make it too thick on something like this. Maybe I'll go 1.5. It's set for the whole document, and just hit OK. Now I got a page border on the entire document. Okay, and a watermark. Page color, you can click on page color, do a really light page color. I just did that, and it's not that light. So you can add a page color if you like. At least try it out so you know how to use it in case you ever need it in the future. I'm going to turn mine off just so you can see better on here. And last but not least, we'll put our footer on here. So the footer, if you go to, bringing this here down. Okay, I'm looking through this here, layout, align section. This is not the way I normally do it. I was just looking around here to see where they are on here. It's good habit to look around because a lot of these things can be found in 2 or 3 or 4 different places when you're looking around here. But I'm going to Well, I'll do it the way I normally do it. I'm going to go to the View menu and go to Header and Footer. Or you can just double click on the top or the bottom. Now we're not going to do a header. We're going to do a footer at the bottom. So I'm going to click down there. And on the left, what I want you to do is just put your name and make it 9-point italic. So I'm going to have to click back on the home here, change it to 9-point, and change it to italic. Now with your cursor next to it, press the tab key once. We're going to insert a page number. So you go to Insert, and this may be, you may be able to find it in one of your toolbars. Look around, look it up. Go to Page Number. Okay, I'm looking around on mine. Probably right in front of me here. There it is, page numbers. You can also do watermark there too. Now, you could set here your alignment here. I'm going to put center, so I didn't really have to hit the tab. Okay, it's already set bottom of the page. Okay, you can go through and format. We just want a simple page number, so we're not going to do that. And just hit OK. Now, this happens to be on page 4. That's why it came up as a 4. But if I go all the way back to my first one, okay, there's 1, and then so on. Okay? And, of course, if you want to put the date in the footer, I'm going to do that here real quick. I put my cursor down here. I'll hit Tab again. Put the tab over on the right. I'm going to insert over here. Go to Date and Time. I'll just do a simple date, the first one right there, and hit OK. So I brought that in already in the same style. So I got my name, I got the page number. Go ahead and stick a date in the bottom right. And that's it. You just double click to get out of there. Now that's there in the footer. So now you should be comfortable with text, with formatting, with colors, with some basic shapes, with inserting images, with a text wrap, with a page border, with a drop cap, with the text boxes, with some colors and highlights, with a watermark, with a word art, with inserting date and time, basic tables, making a table and putting things into a table, some basic shapes and arrange and group, simple bulleted list or numbered list, paragraph formatting using the paragraph dialog box. And if you can do all that, you'll ace the word test because it's pretty much doing that. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Like I said, I'm going to share this document with you, both the finished one in a PDF and the one that we originally used to make this. So this is going to be the test review. And good luck with this. So that's all you got to do this week. You got to do the Apple assignment, the test review document we're doing right now, and then the actual test. You can look up anything you want when you do the test. You're going to make a document very much like we just made here. You're going to use the same type of skills, and that's going to be it. We'll wrap up Word. Next week we'll start PowerPoint and some other things. So good luck, and hopefully this tutorial will help you.